Today on JTV, we're going to explore flower jewelry. Did you ever want to be a jeweler? You're going to be able to create gems like this with the secrets you learned today. Just like in fashion, there are hundreds of options for floral jewelry for girls. I wanted to show you some of the great stuff from Mary Fitz at Fitz Designs. She started off creating her line with the flower bracelet many years ago, and I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with that. But then it started to expand, and there were so many great things. The liquids that look like a jelly shoe, and of course the rock candy, we'll use that one today. But then taking the pearls and creating a different pattern for it, like that on the ice cream. Each one of these comes in all sorts of different colors, and you'll want to check out all the different varieties of things she has available. This one, called Disco, with the sequins in the hot colors, that's really sweet. And look at this one, with those beautiful diamonds and also the gemstones. This one is a spin-off of the rock candy. It's called Hard Rock, and it has big gems involved. It also led way for this one, called Queen Bee. What a great name, but look at all those rhinestones inside that one. And of course, the floral necklace, which allows us to do all sorts of other things, including a great idea for guys. We'll show you that next week. They also create smaller varieties too for girls with really tiny wrists. And I know that's a challenge, but there's a single rhinestone or a smaller one like this, or even little pearl ones. So that gives you an idea of what all these look like. Today, we're going to use the orange rock candy one. And the rest of these, I'll put in my Fitz basket. There. Now it kind of looks like a drawer in the flower shop. Has anyone seen the good ribbon scissors? So our first thing that we'll do is utilize the center. You'll notice that they create this wonderful back that's already tied on to the inside of the bracelet. Because they use the ribbon to attach it on the inside, that's smooth against the surface of the wrist. And the little rosette that's in the center actually is connected with a piece of tape, but that's another set of ribbons that we can attach our bow or ribbon to. So let's start with a little bit of the metallic wire in hot pink. Hey, are those my good ribbon scissors? We'll take this, and it's almost as if we're creating a bow. We're taking the loops around and pinching them between my thumb and index finger. Then we'll take that and wrap our wire around the center. We're making sure that that wire stays nice and smooth in the center and we don't overlap the wire over the top of each other. That way, when we connect it in here, it'll be nice and flat. What I'm going to do is grab the two ribbons on either end. So we have one set there that comes out of the back, one set here that comes out of the side, and another set on the other end that comes out of the back. We'll lay this across the top and take the two ends and tie this securely to the front panel. And we'll knot it. And then take our other two pieces at the other end and tie it over the top. What that allows is for us to then shape out our loops. Now again, if we want to, we can pinch the end of those loops so that they start to look like a flower petal or a leaf back. Or we can leave them round too. Remember that you have several different types of wire to use, so you can make it any way you'd like. You can use the aluminum wire, you could use the bullion wire, or you can use the metallic wire. Also consider that you could use a combination as well. Then we'll add our ribbon on top of that. Because our design today is going to incorporate hot pink and orange together, we're going to use orange as the ribbon, and we've got the hot pink in our metallic wire. So we'll use some of the sheer that has the polka dots. Then we'll add just a little bit more of a narrow ribbon that picks up the same color as the dark polka dots on our orange ribbon. We've pinched that together, and then we'll make one large loop at the bottom and one more even larger loop at the bottom and one with our fatter ribbon. Then we come back and cut those loops, allowing us to create great streamers. Now, I can tie this off with a ribbon, or I can tie it off with this ribbon right here. You can do either one. If you're making this ahead of time, tie it off with a piece of this ribbon. But since we're creating this right here today, I'm going to place this on top and then grab my two center ribbons and tie that together. That becomes the center for my bow. And holds all of the ribbons in place. I'm just going to go back through, because this is wired ribbon, and shape my bow so that I've got great shape and form, and it's exactly where I want it to be. I can use my ribbon scissors to cut the ends and trim up any other pieces. Because my little connecting ribbons down here are going to be a little bit distracting, I want to take them off. We've used them to connect up everything. And I don't want them to take away from my flowers. Create one more dovetail on this ribbon right here. Okay. Now that's the base. All of my ribbon selections were created, all of my wire selections are already made. I could do this way ahead of time, and I could have this all ready to go for my fresh flowers to be slipped in just in time for the party or dance. If I was using permanent flowers, I could glue those in now, and it would be all ready to go. Today, we're going to use fresh flowers on our floral jewelry. So with that, we'll be using our cold glue. We always want to use cold glue when we're working with fresh flowers. Anytime the temperature of a flower itself gets above 120 degrees, it can start to deteriorate the flower. With the cold glue, it's going to allow us to make our flower placements, and it's also going to secure the back of that flower. So today I have some greenery and also some flowers that we're going to be using. The great part about using cold glue is that because we're not wiring and taping, it allows me to use a lot of different flower products that I wouldn't normally be able to use. So you're going to notice that today we're actually going to use hyacinth blossoms and also violet blossoms in our design because we don't have to worry about wiring and taping. Violets in a corsage? That's crazy. You can imagine with my big heavy fingers trying to wire and tape a hyacinth blossom or trying to wire and tape a violet blossom. It's just not going to happen. But being able to use the cold adhesive, I'm able to take care of that. We're going to start first with a little bit of our ivy. And this is a hedra ivy, which has bright diffused light, and I keep it planted. I don't like to use cut ivy and trying to hydrate it. I make sure that I have my plant, that it's properly hydrated, it's all very healthy, and I can go in then and trim off the pieces that I actually need. We'll just go in here and we're actually just going to take a couple leaves. I'm taking the leaves from the bottom of the stem rather than these brightly green, very soft leaves at the top. The problem with those guys is that they haven't been hydrated and aren't stable enough. We want to use these guys down here. They're a lot more wilt resistant. We're going to trim off the stems. And I'm trimming them off flush right at the top so that we're removing all of the stem. Then we apply a dot of glue on the back of the leaf itself. And you'll notice that I'm going to do that to all 4 of my leaves right now so that I can give that cold adhesive time to dry. Because of the acetone and alcohol that's inside the glue to keep it liquid, we want to allow that to evaporate a little bit first so that we don't trap it between the leaf and the ribbon itself. That could cause the leaf to discolor. So we want to make sure that we give that a little bit of time to dry. I'm also going to add just a little bit of glue down inside my bow. Because this is so similar to rubber cement, I want to have glue on my leaf and also glue on the inside of the bow. You don't want to wait too long either, so we don't want to let this sit for 5 or 10 minutes. Instead, maybe 30 seconds or a minute, maybe a minute and a half. And that allows those to stick securely down inside. So now we've got a little focal area right inside there where our flowers are going to go. It's a great backdrop for our flowers. Now also remember, it's very popular right now to not use greenery. So if we wanted to do this without greenery, we could do it that way as well. You can be as creative as you want with the projects you learn here at JTV. We're going to start with one of my favorite new spray roses from Euphoria called Jezebel. And I think 3 of these beautiful Jezebel should be perfect inside here. Now because I have kind of a deep center to my bow, I'm going to leave the calyx on the back of my rose and we're going to place it inside there. If I needed to, if I was creating something flat, I could cut away that calyx too. But in this case, I'm going to use it for a little bit more extra moisture and a little bit of elevation for my rose. You'll notice that I'm applying plenty of glue on the back side. This is really important because the glue is what keeps the flower in the corsage. So by doing that and having plenty back here, we're going to make sure that it's really secure and that it sticks. I've talked to a few people who said that they tried it once or twice and the flowers fell out of the corsage. The reason behind that is not the technique that we're using, but it's not using enough glue. So we have to make sure that we've got enough glue. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more glue into the corsage itself. That gives the product 2 places to glue together. We'll add this one on this side. Add this one on top. add one over here on this side. Notice how our flower jewelry is starting to come together already. It becomes a very easy way for us to create this. Okay. Now, we can come back and add a couple of the accents of the hyacinth blossoms. I'm going to come down here to the bottom and see if I can grab a couple that are open a little bit further. So check this out. On the back of the hyacinth, no stem. No stem whatsoever. So it would be really difficult for us to wire that. But with our glue, it's easy. We apply the glue to the back of the blossom and place the blossom directly into the flower jewelry. Because jewelry so many times has great little intricate gems or different kinds of stones or little scroll work, all sorts of cool things. We can create those same cool things inside our flower jewelry by using the glue and using smaller types of flowers. There we go. Now notice, I've pushed that one way down inside, and I have other ones up above it. So that gives depth and dimension to my flower jewelry. Now I can add a couple of violet blossoms. People think it's crazy when I talk about using violet blossoms or pansy blossoms in corsages. Because if you're like my mom, you never could use a product like this because it was so difficult to wire and tape it. But in this case, a dot of glue on the back side is just like creating a setting for our flowers. Now you'll notice sometimes you'll get those little webs in between the flowers themselves, or they'll stick to your finger like that. That's okay. I know he's safe right there for this second. Place these on top as topping, actually connecting them to the bow and to the rose so that we have incredible detail on that flower jewelry. That's perfect. I want to personalize our corsage by adding some gemstones. The gemstones come in crystal and also in colors. So let's see. We'll make this corsage for somebody who has the initials C. G. And it's personalized. I chose CG because that's my sister. She was the one who taught me how to make really pretty corsages. Our final step is to apply Chrysal Glory. It seals in the molecular structure of the flowers themselves, allowing them to retain moisture inside, sealing them from the top so that they're going to last incredibly long. It's part of the Chrysal line, and it's a perfect finishing touch for our flower jewelry. So now, you know the secrets to becoming a jeweler with flowers. Until next week, keep having fun with flowers.